padres y unos cuantos maestros. El problema aquí no son ni los niños ni los maestros, el problema aquí son los papás. A nuestros hijos hoy en día les faltan padres. ¿Para qué nos hacemos? Dejémonos de... Lo que faltan son hombres, varones, machos no de nombre ni de cantina, sino machos, machos. Hombres de a veras, un hombre que le pueda pegar, un hombre que le pueda pegar con cariño al hijo cuando lo necesita, pero que también lo pueda abrazar y le pueda decir, te quiero, eres lo más importante de mi vida.
I got to stay with Peter and Smiley for a long time, but the other places it's like 2 or 3 weeks, probably.
How did you feel about moving around like that?
I didn't feel good at all.
Did you kind of wish that you had a place to stay permanently?
The longest I've stayed at a foster home was like 3 months, probably.
When he came into our home first, he came into respite. Respite is when the family that is the actual foster family, they need to take a vacation or they need to go somewhere out of town and they can't take the child because either the state did not grant them permission to take them or they need to do something as the actual family unit without someone else or without the foster child, so they need a temporary placement. Well, he came to our home and, under those terms, and things went really well and we attached.
So tell me, how did you feel when you didn't see them again?
Sad, depressed.
Why?
Because they were close enough as a family as I could get.
The thing is that you really don't know what happens afterwards. So once they're out of your house, out of your home, there's absolutely no contact. I mean, the caseworker doesn't come back and tell you, oh, you know what, he's still doing good. The person he's with, they're treating him nice, he's happy, whatever. To at least give you some kind of sense of closure, but you don't get that.
And what is a family to you? What does that mean, family?
Having someone to be there with you, going places and having fun with your parents.
And what about everyday regular life? You don't go anywhere. Does that count?
Yeah, because you can get to know them better and find out what they like to do.
They had told us all kinds of horror stories about him, what a terrible kid he was and everything. So we were like, ready to not accept. But immediately we found out that, he was just a kid trying to please and trying to do the best that he could with a horrible set of circumstances. And then again, things were moving towards adoption. And we were on and everything. And then they told us that, no, he was going to be adopted by the grandfather, which it never happened.
Well, I asked them if they could adopt me, but then they said, yeah, but then I left to go to another foster home for some reason.
And it actually turned out that the caseworker at the time had some issues with who we were as a family. Actually, he went on to live with some other relatives and then subsequently went and lived in other placements, ended up in a home with multiple foster kids.
When I was using in foster homes, I would always act up, and sometimes I would act up, and sometimes I would usually just sit there and just do nothing. His legs moved numbly. What would they do to him now?
Okay, I tell you what, for right now, we're going to go ahead and pause, and we're going to use her marker, and we'll continue later on. Because
having the consistency of two wonderful parents in his life has helped him to feel safe again, to feel loved again, and then to see how that translates into him being successful and he's done an amazing job here. He's a great kid. He's likable. He enjoys his time here. He's a good student. You know, he struggles because he had some learning gaps because of his former situation in life, but he's really, really doing well.
And in the process, he kept trying to find us and trying to find us. And the attorney ad litem and the caseworkers at the time couldn't find us because the documentation had been misrepresented. I think there was a real bad confusion there with the paperwork. I would like to put it that way instead of making accusations of any kind.
Then, after like 3 foster homes, or 3 or 4, then I finally went back to them. And I got adopted. So it's like a circle.
Now he's our son. He's been adopted now since November the 16th of last year, of 2006. There was a total of about 3.5 years between the time that we first met him until the time that we adopted him.
In 1948, a man named William Morrison saw that Americans were fascinated by pictures and stories.
And mostly we refer to Tyler because he's the one that is adopted. We have another wonderful son right now that hopefully someday, if he decides to have us as a family, we would love to adopt him, but that's completely up to him. You know, if he feels like he needs us or wants us as a family, then we'll be here for him.
They can, my family can also be very protective and watchful. They would make sure nothing ever happens to us.
How does that make you feel?
Safe and happy.